Hey guys, we get up pretty early in the morning. 6:30 is pretty late for us. I wanted to show you because it just isn't as pretty out here. Once we get into the hot part of the day, what it really looks like. We've got tomatoes and squash doing really well, lots of Swiss chard, lots of kitties. And I love that my summer kitchen is so close to my house, because then we can pull out the sun oven, we can pop in here and bake something without heating the house up, but it's really close to the house. Alright, we have added, since the last time I did a video, we have added a screen here, a little curtain that keeps these bunnies from getting too hot because the afternoon sun does come under here pretty well. Having them here is something of an experiment to see who does best. Those in the really big long cages out there, those in the small cages out there, or these guys underneath the deck. And we just brought a mama bunny home that was bred before we brought her. If you're going to get breeding stock and they're supposed to be adult, have them breed your doe there, because a lot of times they don't take really well once they get here. At least that has been our experience. The Nanking cherries are doing well. They're coming to the end of their fruit. And I'm really careful about this bush here by the house that it kind of gets less water so that it's not watering the house. This is a work table that we turned into stairs, that we turned into a broody hut, that we've now turned into a picnic table. And it's made out of a platform, a mannequin platform from the mall that I just added legs and support onto. And I also have one of these in my garage that I use as my work table. The raspberries are doing well. At this time of year, where I have a deep mulch system, it's really easy to overwater, and I've had to quit watering. I haven't been able to water in about 2 weeks because the soil gets saturated and the plants don't want any more water. These are strawberries. The cages are there to keep the ducks out. We didn't have the cages on for a little bit and the ducks have come in and squished everything flat. We only water these once a week because, again, we're on a very heavy drip system, and if we overwater, it makes their fruit mushy and nasty. These are Rootstock Apples. They came back from the roots after the rabbits killed them over the course of a couple winters. This is where the roosters are. We have them in with the geese. We've got about 30 roosters in there. And as long as you don't have hens in with them, they won't be fighting. You can hear they're having some little squabbles, but there's no actual fighting. We're butchering one of those a day, and because we need to get the numbers down, and they're the perfect size for a family that currently consists of 3 people. When John gets here, it probably wouldn't be enough. But by the time John gets here, they will be big enough that he will be able to get his fill too. Those are autumn olives. We love autumn olives. They taste so good. More Nanking cherries and aronias. These are young raspberries that I put along where I knew I had a drip line, and I want them to spread. This is a pear tree. And everything is coming along a little bit slow this year. I think that usually we harvest a little sooner than this. This is, let's see if I can get out of the sun for you. Not sure I can. Dang it. Alright, the sun. We've got these cherries that were full of cherries, but we've harvested them all for pie. So they're not trees, but they're bushes. They're a kind of, the ones I have, hi rooster, they're called, this one is Romeo. And they will actually grow in Alaska. They're so cold hardy. And then we've got gooseberry, and I need to cut back this comfrey so that it's happier. These over here are butterfly bush. And I've got another raspberry at the base of that because I have water there. Butterfly bush does not create food, it just creates pollination. Let's see, what else do we have? This is our big crab apple, and it's biennial, and this is its off year, so it didn't produce a lot of fruit, but on the years that it does produce fruit, it's a huge amount of fruit, and the ducks eat it, and then they taste wonderful. All right, here's our quail. And I don't see any eggs this morning. They do really well in here, especially if we have trays of sand for them. They love to sand bath. And I always moisten their food. They don't waste nearly as much food as long as we moisten it. And we've got a lot of eggs in there right now. But I love this size of cage. It just gives them just some room to not be fighting. But we also have 3 quail up by the Airbnb cabin so people can see and experience the quail. And then over here we got bunnies. Now, I do want to set up a tube and bucket system for their water, because it looks like Kaya may have just watered them, and they shouldn't be this thirsty. If you water your bunnies and they act this thirsty, they don't have enough water. And I don't like the water bottles because it's hard to keep them from dripping and knowing that they'll still have water. And I think we have 5 in this one, 6 in this one. And we are butchering these once a day, 1 bunny, sometimes 2. This is our mama bunny. We don't have a name for her yet. And she was bred day before yesterday. So we need to write on our calendars 28 days and watch her for when we need to put in a nest box. I believe last time she had, how many did she have? I think that she said she had like 13 and she raised 11 or something, but she did really well. And we just kind of need to keep on top of it now. All right, over here, more volunteer from the root apples because the rabbits once again killed them. If you will wrap chicken wire around the base of your fruit trees, it helps keep the rabbits out. These are blackberries, and we've got lots and lots of raspberries. Those geese, I think, are a little agitated by the roosters. Here's our flax patch. I have several flax patches. Russian sage, our big in-ground garden. And I planted this where the oldest hotbed was. And the reason I did that was because there were 0 weeds. There still haven't been any weeds. The only thing that comes up here is willows that are coming from the living fence. So it's doing really well. We're getting a lot of Swiss chard off of it. And then here is the living fence. And I do need to cut it back, but I struggle cutting it back because I just don't want to. Kaya, what are you doing? Just open up the gate. The whole, yeah, all of them. Did you not see how many are running free? Well, honey, they're all out. Can you not see that they're all out? Okay. When you have children helping with homesteading, there's a lot of destruction and mayhem, just like in real life, normal life. And so I'm going to have to talk to them about putting my doors back, because those go on the under the deck for the goats to live in the winter. These are gobo burdock, which is a root crop, and yes, it is what's the word? I don't remember what the normal word is. If they get in your hair, they're awful. These are Siberian pea shrub. Burdock, thank you. They're burdock. Lovage, Siberian pea shrub, Hare, ducks, grapes. I have pawpaws planted in here. Horseradish, little leaf linden. Hi, Pony. Pony. You see the pony? There we go. Pony. She probably thinks she needs to be fed. And let's see, and then inside the garden. So the reason I have all of these living fences and the garden inside the living fence is to add texture. In permaculture, texture is really important. It holds wind off, it gives you shade, you have more biodiversity because you have some open places and some that are closed in. But I do really need to see how these are blocking the sun so that these guys aren't getting sun early enough. So I came in and I weeded out a lot of the volunteer tomatoes and the volunteer squash so that we opened it up and gave it more oxygen because I don't want it to mildew. It did rain last night, but we do have squash in here. We have summer squash and tomatoes and peppers. And then here I planted a whole bunch more greens. And this is the new greenhouse. I wanted a greenhouse that was closer to the house. And then this is the rabbit garden. We've pretty much harvested everything that we're going to feed the rabbits out of this, and now we're just pulling turnips and things for ourselves. And let's see, I think that gate is locked, so most of our back property is pasture for the goats. I don't know if you'll be able to see them or not. But everything back there, we have some windbreak trees, but most of our food forest is up here. And I'll try to show you everything in an orderly fashion. This is lathe that we got for free, and we use it for all sorts of building projects, lightweight building projects. Up here we have squash and lovage and hollyhock and peaches. There's your hollyhock. There's your peaches. They are bearing. They have for the last 3 years. Or this is the 3rd year. Apricots, plums, Stanley prune, the best plum in the world because it's not too juicy. It has a lot of flavor, and you actually have to chew it instead of it being mushy. This is the roundabout that I put in here just because the landscape once again needed some texture. It would be great if I planted something useful in there, but I just haven't. All right, these are Saskatoons. They're like a blueberry. And if I gave them more water, if they gave them more fertilizer, they would get bigger faster. But they're just not my priority. They're there for the kids to snack on, but the Nanking cherries give us most of our food, our fruit. More Siberian pea shrub, all the way up. Most of what we have right now in this area is not edible. It's more a beautification. Because when we first started, this is where I put a lot of my trial plants, just to see if we liked how they tasted, and we didn't like them. Okay. These are my greens that I pull for the rabbits right now. And I made use of it because it was an empty space that had been burned. I had to burn it anyway. And never waste a fallow spot. Sorry. Never, if you have an opportunity to have something be like, burning fire, everything died, put your garden in if you possibly can. Sorry, we'll try and mask that sound. Put your garden in there. And I broadcast, so I have a lot. And I've given myself a little bit of a stepping stool in the middle to be able to pull things, because previously I couldn't get in here to the middle. And this is where a lot of the biggest overgrowth was. So I've got a lot in here that once I have more of the greens pulled out, they'll thrive better. What's underneath. And I did add some fertilizer. I added some worm castings and some compost here when I planted it. But since then see that little bead? That is a fertilizer bead. That's Osmocote is the one that I use if I'm going to use a fertilizer. And yesterday I noticed, I've been noticing for a bit, that we've got some around the outskirts that are much shorter than the ones in the middle. And it can become crowding. It can be because they didn't get enough water, but I know I'm giving them lots of water, so I added some fertilizer. Up here I have, these are fruiting trees, but they've never fruited here. Our climate is just not conducive to that. I don't remember what they're called. They're supposed to be orange and flavorful, and they're beautiful, but we haven't had them fruit. And so, yeah, we've planted hundreds of trees in this space, and the only ones that have survived have been Siberian pea shrub, a few of the black locust, and the Saskatoons have kind of survived but not thrived because it's a very poor spot, and we have a lot of voles that like to eat the roots. So I've stopped trying to put expensive trees up here, and now I'm just letting self-seeding happen. The one edible we do have is the elderberries. I would like to actually move those into the backyard where they would be able to fruit and get bigger. But they've survived for like 5 years now. They haven't thrived, but they've survived. So most likely I need to just go purchase some new elderberries and put them in the backyard. We have riverbank grapes here. They taste nasty, so we don't eat them. And we have mint and walking onions in the swale here in with the comfrey, also asparagus. But it's going to take some time for those to come to fruition. And here's my other set of flax. That's my flax that I'm going to be harvesting and turning into yarn. And that's pretty much it. I think that my big, tall, beautiful trees are just as important as my food trees, because eventually we can use them for firewood, and in the meantime they give shade and comfort to our animals. Hi, honey.
You left the stove on, and it was at 425, and there was nothing in it.
Yeah, I was baking biscuits.
Yeah, but there was nothing in it. So it's been on 425 for 2 hours.
It hasn't been 2 hours, it's been 10 minutes. It's been for how long I've been out here. Come on. 16 minutes, see? I turned it on just before I came out. 16 minutes. Did you turn it off?
Yeah.
Okay, go turn it back on.
Horses.
Yep, we do need to feed the horses. All right, so we have taken our woodshed and we took everything out of it to repair it. And because we repaired it and everything actually looks pretty good underneath the plastic, we haven't put all the wood back in. So we have a little bit of the wood, but mostly I've got hay and straw in here just because it's a lot easier to unload it. I hear ya. I'm trying to hurry. I'm a-coming. I'm sorry. You had lots of hay last night, so I thought you would be okay until now. Oh, you do. It just needs pushed up against the... She still had some. All right, there's a pony. Huh?
I found a regional ice bone in there. I didn't want him chewing on it, so I just used a curved stick to fetch it out so he wasn't eating it.
What was it, a string?
No, a bone.
A bone. Okay. Now, these need to come out. Our horses got here 3 days before we thought they would. They were supposed to get here on Friday, and they got here on Tuesday. And so we had set this up for goats, which means you need it higher and you need smaller spaces. I don't like this being here with the horses because, I don't know. I think it looks bad, for one thing. It's redundant. It's not necessary. And we've got some parts over here that I'm worried that they could get hurt on. Hi, baby.
That's why he let me feed him. He let me feed him.
Sweet pea. All right, so let's go get our chores done. I am finding that I wish I had more storage space. On a farm, it isn't about what's in your living space, it's about what's in your barn, because you have a lot of tools. There's the cabin. We're only supposed to have 1 2/3 acre, but I swear that they surveyed it wrong and it's more. This is how I covered my hay. I only had a tiny tarp and nothing to anchor to, so everything at the bottom is anchored. Every eyelet has wood attached to it. There's the goats. And I really would like to get my boneyard all cleaned up and not have to look at it anymore. And I'm thinking about putting it on Craigslist just because, but I need to hold out. Hi, Mama. I hear ya. Do you think you need to go to a new spot? Yeah. Yeah, I hear ya. All right, here's our beautiful muscovies. We have planted gardens out here, and pretty much the muscovies just keep them cut down for us. This is the Air Creek garden. It was doing pretty well, but the muscovies keep everything trimmed for us very nicely. Aren't they beautiful? They're so quiet and majestic. There is the house for them that we put them up in at night, and they're just super happy, and we love them to pieces. So we will let them eat our garden back here. This is the path to the shower and also to the petting animals that we have back here. We have 3 quail, We have 3 quail and 2 bunnies. We had just 1 bunny back here because we didn't like him being in such a small cage with 2, but we felt like he got lonely. So, I'm gonna feed, this is something I wanted to show you. So this is pea vine hay, and we just store it up here above the rabbits. When you have old garden produce like pea vines, it's already dry. And so it's a good place to store it so that it's just there when you need it. But that's where we dry it. And it looks like Kaya hasn't made it this far yet. So we're gonna go ahead and feed them. I don't know where I put that lid. There it is. I like to keep some containers of food here at the cage so that if you walk out here, it's easy just to find them and have them here. So this is the laundry station and also the shower. So far, nobody on the Airbnb has wanted to use it, which makes me very sad. There's the Air Creek chimney. What is the matter, Mama? That snort you heard is an alarm. I don't know why she thinks she needs to sound an alarm. Everybody is okay. Why is she being so loud? I think she wants a different rope. Here's wood for the rocket mass heater. There is the Air Creek oven for the Airbnb. Here's the hand washing station, and here's the washing water. We do pull all the washing water from the hand pump for their use so that they don't have to. Here's all Kaya's art that she loves to make. All right, so the people that were supposed to come to the Airbnb last night did not make it. So I have a minute to show you what everything looks like. We still have the stairs that go up to the storage attic. I need to add a window up there before I have anybody sleep up there so that they have an egress. Here's the kitchen. There's the table. We have lots of storage under here. We have potatoes and onions and candles in the space underneath. We have a cooler for them. We do have an extension cord out here so they can use the fan if they need to. I'm going to bring this window up really quick. We had rain last night. Alright, so we do have a washing bowl for them so they can wash their own dishes, but generally we just ask them to put the dishes into the bowl and we bring them to the house to wash them. There's the Aircrete stove, which we love. I actually have covers for it in the summer, but I haven't put them on this year. The pea gravel bench, rocking chair storage, and then we have all of our games. We have some Nerf gun bows and arrows, basketballs, baseball, and then we do have candles out here for them to use. Hold on a second, let me lift this one too. I just want to let some of that cool breeze in while it's still cool. Lots of books like Anna Green Gables, Little House on the Prairie, Laura Ingalls Wilder stuff. I have spinning things up here. The one thing we don't let them use is the oil lamps, but we do have candles. Let's see. It's so funny. It's such a tiny house that by now I've already given you the grand tour. I did get up railings. They're not spaced as closely together as they could be, and probably not as close as they should be. But there we go. That is the grand tour. There's the bed all made up for them. And once again, I have lots of books. Can't tell if you can see them. Lots of really great old antique books. And it was Swamp Creek Cabin that made us these stairs, and we love them. And it was Josh over at Essential Mountain Homestead where we went and rough cut this lumber out and then made a ladder. I'm going to see if I can make it up. It's not advisable to go up these stairs with only one hand. But there's the attic. You can see we have quite a bit of storage, sleeping bags. Once again, more books on that side. But this would be a great play space for kids and a good sleeping space for kids. So we could actually sleep somewhere in the neighborhood of, we could actually sleep like 10 people here if we actually filled the whole space with bed. But I don't like to use regular mattresses because they bring you closer to the ceiling and it feels a little claustrophobic. I prefer to use camping mats, which would make kids super happy, but most adults wouldn't be super happy like that. So if I were to get a window in here, this would no longer be a storage type space, but instead would be sleeping and playing space. But I just haven't done it. I just don't. For our family, we've already got plenty of sleeping, so I'm just being lazy. But there you go. That's what it looks like. And eventually you do get the hang of this ladder, but at the beginning it's pretty dangerous. It's very steep. So I think that's all of it. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys because you've all asked for a bigger, better tour. We have changed the kitchen. We definitely simplified it. Of course, we took the Elmira stove out and that opened it up a lot. But we still have our spices and our flowers in here for people and dishes. And then behind the stairs we have these hooks. And that's pretty much it. I did go to Big Lots to get all my baskets, and the reason is that I wanted everything to match, and it was very difficult at secondhand stores to find baskets that were the right size so that you could still get your foot in here, because this is great for storage, but if they had been too wide you wouldn't have been able to use the stairs. And what I had to do was add little pieces of lathe behind the baskets so they couldn't push through. And so there are a few things that we did actually purchase. Not a lot, hardly anything, but the baskets were my big purchase for the cabin, which is so silly. Everything else was secondhand store, or we found it for free, or we bartered for it. But the baskets were a big deal. All right, and there is my, I've had this for, I don't know, a year now, I think. And I don't think I ever did like an unboxing on it. Anyway, there we go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you're interested in homesteading books, go to our Etsy store. And if you're interested in rabbit hutches, Hostel Hare is who we use, and we do have a link in the description below. Hopefully all of that is very helpful. Garden seeds are Mary's Heirloom seeds, and they're also in the description below. So we'll talk to you later.